Hello, and welcome back to Cape Corner, where we explore the history, story, and cultural impact of a different character or group every episode. I'm Blue,
And I'm Jay.
and today we're going to take your heart with talking about the Phantom Thieves. Boy, that was so smooth. I definitely didn't hesitate halfway through that sentence. Um, all right, so I am a huge fucking weeb, as has been established, and I'm a big um, fan of the Persona games. You said you've only played like an hour of Persona 5.
Yeah,
Have you played any other Persona game? Have you engaged in any other Persona media?
I have not.
Do you know like the core premise of Persona?
Um, no.
Okay, so do you okay, you know Sigmund Freud?
I don't think so.
He's the psychologist that like whenever you see a stereotypical armchair psychologist, it's like, oh, how does this make you feel? And they're taking notes, and they're like, do you have feelings of regret against your mother and all that stuff? Like
Oh, okay.
they're based on him. He was like a leading early days psychologist who he was the one that popularized the idea of dreams having deep psychological meaning. Um, but he was also kind of a quack because, okay, so he very famously popularized the Oedipus complex, which is the idea that young men want to fuck women that resemble their mothers
I
because
hate that.
there is a deep seated desire to fuck their mothers, named after a character from Greek mythology, Oedipus, who killed his father because he was in love with his mother. Um, now, the reason why Sigmund Freud popularized the Oedipus complex so much is because as he gained popularity in the psychological world and became more and more mainstream, and more people wanted to go to him, rich people who, as I'm sure you know, have a history of inbreeding.
No, wait. Hold up. Didn't they? I think I heard about that. They literally paid him for him to say that inbreeding was okay.
Yes,
I heard about that.
yeah.
Oh,
So so he was like, yes, it's totally normal to fuck your family.
oh, that's
uh,
horrible. Alabama
yeah,
took that to a whole new level.
you're right. They did. Um, well, anyway, all this is to say that that Sigmund Freud had a sort of rival in the psychological community called Carl Jung,
Hmm.
and Jung, spelled Jung, um, he developed his own psychological model that sort of competed with the model that Sigmund Freud uses, because Sigmund Freud developed he he split the psyche into three parts mainly: um, the id, the ego, and the superego. Um, but the way that Carl Jung tackled it, um, because id, ego, and superego largely factors into like what are your most primal base urges, and what is your like higher human thinking, and then what is like enlightenment and shit like that, right? That's how he
Hmm.
categorized thoughts. But with Jungian psychology, it deals heavily with personal identity, and it's the idea that deep within you there is a sense of your true self, and you cannot discover what that is until you reconcile with different areas of your personality. For starters, when you are young, you have not matured enough to develop your true sense of self, and so what you do is you reflect certain roles that you see are present in society. the nerd, the jock, the goth, the rebel, the whatever, right? It's almost
Mhm.
like the commedia dell'arte or the fucking like Myers-Briggs personality test or whatever, in that there is a selection of archetypes or roles, and we sort of naturally gravitate towards one of those when we're younger, and um that's sort of the role that we play until we discover who we are as an individual. And there's the idea in Jungian psychology that there is a collective unconsciousness, almost like an internet, but for brains. And we can't consciously tap into it, but because it's out there, it sort of affects us. So weirdly enough, it kind of mimics aspects of Assassin's Creed, where in the first Assassin's Creed game, the Doctor is like, know its migratory pattern when it hasn't experienced that migration route firsthand. Uh, like the idea that certain instincts are like genetically predisposed and before we've experienced it. The collective unconsciousness is sort of an alternate way of explaining that, in that you sort of tap into the thoughts of the masses unconsciously.
That's pretty neat.
And yeah, interesting stuff. I wouldn't say that I like 100% buy into all of it, but it's interesting to think about. But the idea was that in your own personal consciousness, the parts that it can be split up into are the shadow, the persona, the anima or animus. And what those are is the shadow is aspects of yourself that you don't like. You pretend that they are not part of you. You turn your eyes away from it. You ignore its existence. Um, the persona is different masks that you wear depending on the situation that you're in. You're going to act differently when interacting with your boss versus how you'll girl, or versus how you'll act with your mom, or versus how you'll act with your bros. Um, so personas are different iterations of yourself that you switch between to deal with the situation, right?
Mm.
And then the anima or the animus largely goes into transgenderism. It's I want to say it's the anima is feminine tendencies in people who were born male, and the animus is masculine tendencies in people who were born female. And the idea is that because society demands that gender be one way or another, right? It splits everything into those two genders. You will often growing up, what's the word I'm looking for? You will not allow yourself to feel natural feelings because they conflict with your gender identity. Uh, Boys will not allow themselves to play with Barbies because, well, that's for girls, and girls will not, watch monster trucks because that's for boys. And by by restricting yourself in this way, you are restricting part of your true self, in order to please society. So it's the idea that you need to reconcile that the shadow is a part of you, whether you like it or not, that your personas are all aspects of yourself, but none of them are your true self, um, and that your anima or animus is something that you can accept within yourself. And only by reconciling all three of those do you find your true self.
Damn
So
it! I didn't realize it got so deep.
yeah, it's very interesting stuff. And then they in like the early 1990s in Japan, they went, what if we made a video game about that? So the entire basis of Persona is that they take aspects of Jungian psychology. Shadows are creatures or enemies that you fight, and in Persona 4 specifically, they were dark reflections of your main characters, and they didn't want to acknowledge that they were part of themselves. And when they defeated and accepted their shadow, they gained access to their persona. The persona takes the form of like a demon or something that's essentially like a jojoba stand. It
Hmm.
it appears and it grants you access to abilities. Basically, in terms of the gameplay, it's your skills. Okay, you can do a normal attack, or you can summon a persona to shoot a fireball or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Um, and what's very cool is that if you're the main character in a persona game, similar to how you switch personas to deal with the situation in social life, you can switch personas to deal with the situation of what kind of battle you're facing. You can have multiple personas, where most people who awaken to the power of persona can only hold one persona. Every main character has something called the wild card, where they can have multiple ones.
I quizzed
I
you
should
on
also.
that.
What's that?
I said I quizzed you on that for the quiz.
Yes, yes, you did. And that ties into more of that question too, because every persona is linked to some kind of major arcana from the tarot. Um, and relationships that you form in the persona games are represented by one of those arcana. So if you have a relationship with someone who's acting as a mentor figure for you, then that person represents the magician, which in the story of the tarot is the mentor for the fool.
Mm.
So it's very neat. I should also say that most of what I'm going to be talking about when I talk about tropes of persona, it means Persona 3 onward, because that was when they developed a formula that they've been using since then. Personas 1 and 2 and 2.5, because that's technically a different game, they were kind of still finding their footing. But it should also be noted that all the Persona games take place in the same world. It's just that they're events that are separated by years. I think the first one was in like 1996 or something. And then the second one was like 1998 or 99 or something like that. And then Persona 3 is like fucking 2002 or something. And then Persona 4 is like, I don't know, it's like 2007, 2008, somewhere around there. And then Persona 5 is like 2016.
Damn.
Yeah. So, and it's cool because sometimes in the newer games, you will see characters who first appeared in older games and now they're older. So I think that's neat.
That is neat.
All right. All of that. Oh, and the last thing I'll say is that these personas and the shadows that they fight often take the form of gods or monsters, because they are beings that were sort of birthed in what they call the sea of humanity souls, which is the collective unconsciousness that I mentioned. So they take the form of beings that multiple people think about. Most people know who Thor is.
Yeah.
So some shadows take the form of Thor or Anubis or the fucking Selkie. Uh, you know, like things that like myth many people know.
Mhm.
And starting with Persona 3, team in those games would all have personas centered around a certain theme. So in Persona 3, they were all Greek mythological figures. In Persona 4, they were all Shinto gods and goddesses. And in Persona 5, they are all tricksters or uh, uh, criminals and heroes.
Mm.
With that out of the way, let's start talking about the Phantom Thieves. Now, you already know about Joker.
Yeah.
Do you know what his backstory is?
I don't remember it.
Okay. Well, first of all, I'm mostly going to be calling him Joker because it's the it. No matter what version of what game you play, he is Joker. But in the manga, he was Akira Kurusu. In the anime, he's Ren Amamiya, which is like the official canon name for him now.
Mhm.
That there's like some argument about which to call him and all this stuff, but for our purposes, officially he is Ren Amamiya, and his code name is Joker. So he was walking home from school one day and saw a man accosting a woman on the street. He was getting ready to rape this woman. Let's not beat around the bush. He was getting extremely grabby and handsy and trying to force her into his car and all this stuff. And Ren pushed him off of her. And the guy was drunk and he tripped over himself and he fell and he busted his head. And so he was bleeding. And it turned out that guy was a high ranking politician and he had power over the police. And so they arrested Ren. They coerced the woman into saying that she was never in danger. They said that this young man forced his way into a matter between two adults. And so he had a criminal record. And in Japan, criminal records are essentially death sentences. They have a 99% conviction rate in Japan. And the bias against criminals is so heavy that even though all he tried to do was save a woman who was about to be raped, everyone started spreading rumors that Ren carried a knife and he's hospitalized people and he almost beat a man to death. And if you look the wrong way, he'll fuck you up. And oh, he's done drugs and alcohol. He's done it all.
That is one thing I always not admired, but found interesting in how heavily against crime they are over there.
Yeah, it's extremely ruthless.
Yeah,
And while some benefits, right? Like obviously that's not a perfect system. It's shown with characters like Joker who get fucked over by it.
mm,
Now I know you already know what he looks like, but just for consistency, I'm sending you images of him in his casual wear and him as a Phantom Thief. Uh, and
yep.
God damn it, he's just so cool. Looking cool, Joker. Sorry. Um, this is going to be full of memes, by the way. I'm going to make it my personal mission to say for real at least 37 times this episode.
For real?
For real. Um, yeah, you'll never see it coming. So I'm sorry. All right. So he gets sent to an area around Shibuya where he has to live for a year, because that is the thing in these Persona games is you are in an area that is not your hometown for 1 year, and that 1 year is when the game takes place. Okay, so quickly after going to Shujin Academy. Oh, by the way, the person who is taking care of Ren is a guy named Sojiro Sakura, who starts off as just a real fucking dick. As okay, I should say, so all the people that aren't party members that form some sort of special bond with you in this game are called confidants. In other Persona games, they're called like social links. But Sojiro and most of your confidants start off as dicks, but by the end of the game, you're crying, saying goodbye to them. So this is Sojiro Sakura.
Oh, I remember him.
Yeah.
He was a dick.
Yes, he's a real prick at first. because again, he's assuming that you're a bad guy because you have a criminal record, and it's only over the course of the game that he realizes you're actually fucking great. Um,
Mhm.
but he is letting you live in the attic of his coffee shop, LeBlanc. And also, LeBlanc is the name of the author, Maurice LeBlanc, who wrote the novel and created the character of Arsène Lupin. Do you know the anime Lupin the Third?
No.
Okay, he's basically the grandson of a famous thief, and that thief is Arsène Lupin, who is like he's a French character, right? So we don't know about him as much in America, but he's like their James Bond, right? He's their like super classy gentleman criminal character, and um his idea was that he steals from like museums and shit, but the riches that he makes from his thefts he gives to hardworking people, like law-abiding citizens.
Mm.
So he makes himself a criminal for the good of others, which is what Joker did. He became a criminal by trying to help people. And it's sort of this idea in this game that a lot of people who society tries to brand as bad people are actually heroes. Um, uh, yeah, so living in the attic of a coffee shop, um, which is funny. He goes to Shujin Academy, which is the school he attends, and it should be noted that Shujin literally means prison, prisoner.
So it's literally Prison Academy.
Pretty much, yes. Because being a prisoner of fate is a main theme of this game. Uh, so I got to talk about the Velvet Room real quick. Um, in all the Persona games, there is a realm that exists between mind and matter, between dream and reality, called the Velvet Room. In the first Persona games, they okay, the entire idea of the Velvet Room is based around an old like poem, right? Or an old piece of writing where a man said, I had a dream that I was a butterfly and I was, flying around and living a carefree life, and everything was great. And it was so vivid. I could smell the flowers, I could taste the nectar, I could feel the breeze upon my wings. And when I woke up, I was a man. Was I a am I a man who was dreaming that I was a butterfly, or am I a butterfly that is dreaming that I'm a man? And
Damn.
yeah, it's like it's that shit of like I feel like a lot of people probably it's an existential crisis of how do I know that I'm awake?
Yeah.
So uh the Velvet Room is led by a man named Belphamon, who um he's like a god essentially, who he has an assistant named Igor, who's this long nosed dude. And um there's this song constantly playing in the background called Aria of the Soul, and it's apparently canon that that actually is always playing in the background because in Persona 2 you meet the singer and the piano player who are doing the song. Um, but Belphemon at the end of Persona 2 decides to become a butterfly and flies away, and he leaves the Velvet Room in charge of Igor. Um, And so every time you see this image of like this glowing blue butterfly fly by, it basically means you're like being, you know, interacted with by Belphemon or the Velvet Room or something. So um, the Velvet Room takes different forms in each game. Starting in Persona 3, Igor is in charge of them and he always has a different attendant. But the one thing in common is that the attendants always have yellow eyes and blue clothes. And it should be noted that yellow eyes are very much like a signifying factor of like there's some kind of shadow or dark force or something, but they're still on your side. The attendants are. And in Persona 3, the Velvet Room, I want to say it exists inside of an elevator. And the reason for that is that in Persona 3, the dungeon is a single tower, and you're trying to work your way up the floors of it all the way to the top throughout the entire game. In Persona 4, you're inside of a limousine, which is driving through a sea of fog, because there's this whole thing about truth versus lies, and the fog is obscuring the truth, and all this stuff in that game. And in Persona 5, it's a prison. Ren, quote unquote, wakes up from going to sleep inside this blue velvety prison room, and he's got like a ball and chain, and fucking he's handcuffed, and he's inside of a cell door. And the attendants in this game are Caroline and Justine, which are they're a couple of lolly wardens, like to put it bluntly. They each have an eye patch and a single yellow eye. Justine is fine. She's a little bit like robotic and monotone. Caroline is a real bitch. Like, she's like, on your feet, inmate. You should be glad that our master is even bothered speaking with the likes of you. That kind, right?
Oh, so, yeah.
But they provide services for you to fuse your personas and create new ones and summon personas and all this stuff. So you're able to strengthen your party by interacting with them. So pretty quickly, you start to see there's an issue in Shujin, and it starts when Joker first meets this girl on Takamaki. And quickly after meeting her, who should pull up in a car but this guy, and he offers her a ride, and she's like, sure, and she gets off. And later on, Joker would find out that this guy is Suguru Kamoshida, who is the gym teacher at their school. Suguru Kamoshida is a rapist. He is a physical abuser and a rapist, and he beats the shit out of the members of the volleyball team, and he tries fucking the girls, and he's specifically trying to fuck on. And the person who is not about Kamoshida's bullshit at all, who you meet immediately after they drive away, is this guy, Ryuji Sakamoto, or Sakamoto. They pronounce the Japanese names in the English version weird. Like they say Takamaki instead of Takamaki, and they say Sakamoto instead of Sakamoto. I don't know. Anyway, so Ren has been being plagued by an app on his phone, no matter how many times he deletes it. And with Ryuji, the app is open, and it's a navigation called the Metaverse Navigator. And they say a couple of key words in it. Ryuji says, that pervert teacher, Kamoshida, what does he think he is? The king of a castle? Oh, hey, do you go to Shujin too? And next thing they know, as they're walking to Shujin Academy, it turns into a giant castle.
Oh, damn.
And while they're there, they meet this fucking thing.
What the fuck? Hey, wait, I remember that.
Yeah, that's Morgana. Um, and he wants to tell you he is not a cat. Say that again and he'll make you regret it. So at this point, Ren and Ryuji are like getting attacked, and Shida appears as like a king who is half naked. Um, like he's wearing a robe, and underneath of the robe, he's just got a pink thong on. Um, and it's just a bunch of weird shit. Like there's a monster cat. They're like, what the fuck is going on? So I will spare you all the mystery, and I'll tell you exactly what's going on. They have entered the metaverse, which is a realm made up of cognition or perception. The way that people view the world around them creates this reflection of the world. And specifically, Kamoshida, because his volleyball team is so popular and it's such a big deal for the school, he can get away with whatever crimes he does because the parents and the teachers turn a blind eye to it because he brings their school success. And as a result, he feels like he's the king of a castle. And so in this world, the school literally becomes a castle. And his Shadow Kamoshida, is a king. And because anything in this world is like subject to his mental distortions, what happens is that when they awaken to the power of their persona, the spirit of rebellion that these characters have gives them a costume change. So the first one you had already seen was Ren becoming Joker. But quickly, the others start to get new abilities as well. So Ryuji becomes Skull, who looks like this.
Oh, I haven't seen that. Oh, that looks sick.
Yeah, I guess I should also like mention the personas that everyone has. So Joker's persona. Let me see. All right, come on, respond, please. Computer, respond. Stop freezing up. Joker's persona is Arsene, which is this fucking guy.
Damn.
He is super cool.
I love the wings.
Yeah, he's the style of persona is so good. And Ryuji, or Skull, his persona is Captain Kidd.
He's a pirate.
Yeah, and he surfs on a pirate ship.
That's sick.
Yeah. An quickly follows, and she becomes known by the code name of Panther.
Looks like a red Catwoman, honestly.
It's kind of what she is. And her persona is Carmen.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. And all of these personas have different elemental affinities, I should mention. Arsene's affinity is Curse, which is like, darkness. Captain Kidd is electric. Carmen is fire. And towards the end of the game, all of these personas can evolve, right? Now, in the vanilla version of Persona 5, they would all get one evolution when you max out your confidant ranks with all of them. Morgana has a persona as well, Zoro. Yes, that Zoro. The slashes Z's and trees. There he is.
Oh shit.
They would all evolve into some kind of god or goddess form. So Zorro became Mercurius, the Roman god of speed and whatnot. Um, Carmen became Hecate. Uh, Captain Kidd became Satan Taisei, which is the Japanese name for Sun Wukong, the Monkey King.
Mm.
I'm not going to bother showing you all of them, but know that in Persona 5 Royal, they all get one final evolution, which becomes the true name of their original persona. So Zoro becomes Diego, Captain Kidd becomes William, Carmen becomes Celestine. Um, it's again sort of ties back to the whole thing of like reconciling different aspects of yourself and finding your true self, all that stuff. They start going back and forth between the real world and the metaverse, and I should say that Morgana, despite his insistence that he's not a cat, this is what he looks like in the real world.
Yeah, so cute.
He is most definitely a cat. And what's great is that he thinks that he's not a cat because he can't remember the circumstances of his birth or how he came to be. So he thinks that he's a human whose true form has been distorted, right? And later on down the line, he would find out that he was actually created by the Igor that you're dealing with in Persona 5 is not actually Igor. He is an evil god called Yaldabaoth who kidnapped the real Igor, has hidden that Igor away, and Igor's attendant in Persona 5 was going to be a girl named Lavenza. He split Lavenza in half. Lavenza became Caroline. And right before split in half, Lavenza created Morgana to be a guide for the hero that could save them, which is just, which is why actually Morgana's blue eyes and yellow collar or handkerchief or whatever reflects the yellow eyes and blue clothing that room attendants have, because he is a creation of a velvet room attendant. So later on, he thought I was a human because I was made to represent human desires and yada yada yada. And what's great is that in Persona 5 Royal, we finally got acknowledgement where somebody was like, Morgana, you're a cat. And he's like, I am not a... Oh, well, I guess I am a cat. And it's just like, finally, he accepts it. But so the goal for the Phantom Thieves becomes tackling members of society, or as Ryuji would put it, shitty adults that have distorted hearts and desires. What the Phantom Thieves do is they go into the metaverse, into their palace, the representation of their distorted desires. They infiltrate it, fight their way through, and they find the treasure. The treasure is the manifestation of something that initially caused their desires to become warped. And when they steal that treasure, they steal their heart. It causes their palace to crumble, and the shadow returns to the consciousness of the original person, the real version of the person, and their distorted desires disappear. They become good people who are now unable to bear the brunt of the crimes that they've committed, and so they confess their crimes publicly. And this happened to Kamoshida. His treasure was his Olympic gold medal that he had earned years ago. Basically, because of him having glory days when he was younger as an Olympic medalist, when he became a teacher, he was so desperate to constantly be rewarded and be showered in praise. After all, he's an Olympic medalist. He deserves all that. That it twisted him up inside. And he started, abusing his students in various ways. And when they stole the treasure from his palace, he wound up going up on stage in school and admitting all the horrible things he was doing to the students and begging them to call the police on him. And
Good.
that's what made the Phantom Thieves of Heart become known to the public. They're criminals, but they strike out against injustice and try and save the world one little piece at a time.
Mm.
It's very cool. I should also point out that the reason why the others are so dead set on stopping Kamoshida, Ryuji was the star of the track team at Shujin Academy, but when Kamoshida took over the track team, he started abusing the team, like not giving them water when they were running and making them run extra laps for no good reason and all this stuff. And Ryuji got into an argument with him, and Kamoshida provoked him by mocking his mother. And Ryuji went to punch him, and so Kamoshida, in quote unquote self-defense, broke Ryuji's leg. So Ryuji can't run anymore. He literally took away his dream of being a track star. And then with An, he was constantly, pressuring An for sex, basically, and An kept like being like, "Oh, sorry, I don't feel well today," and putting it off, because her best friend Shiho was a member of the volleyball team. An, as I'm sure you could see, has blonde hair. She's like a quarter European or something.
Mm.
And as a result, she used to get made fun of for her appearance, or people would assume that she thought she was egocentric when she wasn't. In fact, the reason why Ryuji has blonde hair is because in middle school, he dyed his hair blonde, so people would start focusing on him more than on An, so he was trying to help her out.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. Which landed him with the image of a punk kid, even though he really wasn't. But he wound up leaning into that image in order to help her more. So her An's friend, Shiho Suzui, wanted so badly to be a member of the starting lineup of the volleyball team. And so Kamoshida basically did an under the table deal where, oh, you keep me satisfied, I'll keep your friend on the starting lineup. And on a day where An more strongly refused him, he basically dragged Suzui into the office and raped her. And Suzui, the next day, jumped off of the top of Shujin and tried to kill herself.
Damn.
Yeah. At that point, An was out for blood. And what's very cool is that she was about to kill Kamoshida's shadow. And they were like, if you kill that, then the real him will undergo a psychotic breakdown. He could die. And she diverted her attack at the last second and was like, if he dies, he can't confess his crimes. And so they wound up getting justice and everything. But they would quickly become aware that there was somebody else in the metaverse, somebody wearing a black mask who was killing people's shadows and was making them undergo psychotic breakdowns in the game. One of the earliest things you see in the game is that there's a train conductor who he goes crazy while the train is running, and the train crashes and injures a lot of people. And apparently this guy orchestrated that by killing that train conductor's shadow. So they start trying to figure out who that is. So how's all this sound to you so far?
A lot more interesting than I thought it was.
It's deep and it's heavy.
Yeah.
They do not pull punches. This is not a game for children.
I can tell.
Yeah. But it's also it's because of that I think it's so good. A lot of this shit is unfortunately real world shit. I I'm friends with someone who has been a victim of sexual crimes, and
Yeah.
because of that, I can empathize with On very strongly. Like, you just want so badly to protect this person, um, and it, her struggles in coming to terms with that sort of mirrors the way that I feel. Um, Ryuji too, like he has been treated like he's this terrible person when he's one of, like, he is the best boy. He is one of the sweetest fucking people. um all right, I'm going to show you the second batch of Phantom Thieves, because as the game goes on, they start dealing with more of these criminals, and the people surrounding them start joining Phantom Thieves. This is Yusuke Kitagawa, or Kitagawa as they like to pronounce it. He
Okay.
is the mentor of a famous artist, and the artist was just plagiarizing the works of his mentees. And in fact, Yusuke's mother painted a painting called the Sayuri, which Madarame, his mentor, took credit for. And it's a picture of a woman holding a newborn baby. And Yusuke didn't realize that newborn baby was him. And she had it, and Madarame recognized it was a masterpiece, and he was envious. And one day she started having a heart attack. And Madarame did not call the police, or did not call 911. Because by her dying, he could take credit for her work.
Really?
Yeah. And so as soon as Yusuke found out about this, he became Fox.
Oh, I love that helmet. I ain't even gonna lie.
Yeah. He's like, it's pretty cool. It's much more classical Japanese than a lot of the others, but that also fits with him more because his persona, shit, I forgot to pull up everyone's personas. I pulled up all of their outfits, but I gotta get their personas. So his persona, copy image as soon as my thing responds, there we go, is Goemon. Ishikawa Goemon was sort of like a Robin Hood in Japan.
Mm.
He would attack, like emperors and nobility and all that stuff and give back to the people. So hang on. Fucking sorry, my computer's being slow.
No, you're fine. It's a good time for an ad break.
Oh, that's yo. I love that. Good thinking, Mike. All right, ad break. All right, and we're back. That was some like pro level shit right there.
I try.
It's also good because that was the 5th Phantom Thief, and we got 12 of them. So we're about at the halfway, given all the explanation I did at the beginning. Okay. Now, as they were forming the Phantom Thieves, the principal of the school was trying to basically spy on them because he was like, "Are these kids those fucking Phantom Thieves? You start taking a look at them." And the person he sent was the 3rd year of Shujin Academy, the student council president, Makoto Nijima. It should be noted that Makoto's older sister, Sai Nijima, who is a prosecutor, is interviewing Joker throughout this game. Because the game, when you first start the game, you see a sequence that happens in November. And Joker is captured after being told that he was betrayed by one of his teammates. So he's in lockup, and the police are trying to interrogate him and stuff. And Sai Nijima comes in and is like, tell me all about how you were able to steal people's hearts and all this shit. So Makoto is related to her. And the game takes place mostly in flashback. So it starts in November, but then you go back to April. And you start catching up until you get to November again. But long story short with Makoto is that she wound up getting entangled with the mafia, essentially. She was trying to stop other students from taking loans from these gang members, and she wound up being blackmailed by them. So they decided to attack the mafia leader's palace, in which she became queen.
Damn.
And as queen, she is often she's got a lot of Kamen Rider shit going on, and also Fist of the North Star. In fact, Ryuji jokingly calls her the Fist of the Phantom Star because of the way that she fights. But you might go, well, what's with Kamen Rider? Well, that's because her persona is Johanna.
It's a
who is
fucking
a
bike.
motorcycle.
She's a
Unlike all the
transformer.
others. Huh?
I said she's a transformer.
Yeah. You know what? She is, because Johanna evolves into Anat, who is it's fucking, if the motorcycle transformed into a humanoid form. This is Anat.
Holy shit. Oh, that's great.
Yeah. And what's really funny is that so most everyone, their personas, again, they operate like stands. They float behind them and they do shit. But Johanna, she would literally get on top of and she would ride into battle herself. But what's funny is that I was expecting after a knot that she would stay as like a, float behind you kind, but her final evolution is Agnes, which is once again a motorcycle. It's just now that it's black and gold.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. So she just really likes ramming into people. Now after Makoto, they wind up trying to deal with some hackers called Medjed, who are trying to expose their identities to the world. Well, no, I'm sorry. Medjed wanted to crash all the systems in Japan. And a different hacker named Alibaba was trying to help the Phantom Thieves. And Alibaba's like, I'll help you guys stop Medjed, but in exchange, I want you to take my heart. And they're like, what the fuck? Somebody's requesting that we take their heart? And Alibaba's like, yeah, look, I got some shit going on. I want you to change my heart. And later on, they would find out that Alibaba is this girl who, well, her name is Futaba Sakura. Whoops, I posted that twice. Hang on. This is Futaba Sakura. She is, for all intents and purposes, the daughter of Sojiro Sakura.
Damn.
Basically, her mother was actually studying the cognitive world of the metaverse, and the government hunted her down. And because Sojiro was he was a very close friend of hers. They were never romantically together, but because she died when Futaba was so young, Sojiro adopted her and took her in. And the reason why she wants the Phantom Thieves to take her heart is because she has become a shut-in who is terrified of the outside world and of people. And you later find out that she only started calling herself Alibaba online because she was originally Medjed. and other hackers took over the identity of Medjed, kind of like how people have all claimed to be anonymous online, that sort of thing. But what's really wild about Futaba is she accidentally wound up inside of her own palace. And I should note that a palace is the subconscious reflection of a person's mental state. Palace rulers in the real world are aware that they're being attacked in the metaverse, right? Like, Kamoshida didn't know that he was a half-naked king that turned into a big gross monster that was fighting these phantom. All he knew is that he was trying to expel these kids. So it's very rare to see the inside of their own palace. And Futaba did, and she became Oracle, or in Japanese, she's called.
Okay.
And her persona is Necronomicon, which is a UFO.
I kind of like it.
What's wild, when she first summons her persona, you get this cool, like, bottom-up perspective showing it floating above her. She's got the anime glasses thing where the light is reflecting and making it all white in her glasses, and, like, the shadow is cast over top of her. And tentacles come out of the bottom of Necronomicon and wrap around her and pick her up and suck her into it. And she's in this dark room, and then all these lights and displays start coming on, and you see she's in her outfit now. And
I can already imagine the Rule 34 of her.
yes. Well, she's also, like, in my opinion, the most romanceable girl in the game. Like, she's a big old dweeb, and she talks in video game terms all the time, and she's very cute. And if you get into a romance with her, or no, even if you don't, because she's constantly comfortable around Joker, he starts being able to slowly bring her outside, and she's like, I feel so vulnerable when I'm alone, but if you're nearby, I'm a lot stronger. You're like a key item. And so she starts calling him her key item.
That's cute.
It is. I love her so much. But yeah, so she is the only member of the Phantom Thieves that is a non-combatant. She is strictly a navigator who helps you figure out the weaknesses of enemies. She will apply buffs or debuffs as needed randomly in the battle. Sometimes you'll randomly get a boost by her. She is support, but she's damn good support. And then the final of the original members of the Phantom Thieves that you run into is Haru Okumura. She is the daughter of the Okumura food dynasty. They own a spot called Big Bang Burger. They're a food franchise, and she is rich as hell. And she's about to get married off to some sleazebag who's much older than her, who is like, oh, high school fiance, what a turn on, and all this stuff. Long story short, at this point in the story, Morgana gets into an argument with Ryuji. He gets mad. He tries to leave, and he's like, I'm going to have my own protege. So you randomly meet Haru in the metaverse as Noir, and she's being mentored by Morgana. And Haru is quite possibly the most terrifying member of the Phantom Thieves.
Really?
Because she is so sweet and innocent. So it's really jarring when you're riding around in the metaverse and she starts saying shit like, it's always so satisfying chopping the shadows in half. I really like it when they beg for mercy. And you're just like, Haru?
Jesus.
Like, she has got some issues. Now, initially, she apparently has a persona, but it doesn't have a form. It's essentially just a formless ball of light that can't do much. But through interacting with the Phantom Thieves, it like reawakens into a true form, which is Milady. Um, and Milady looks real sweet and everything up until in battle you realize that, okay, so in addition to the psychic element, she's also got the element of gun. The dress opens up and giant Gatling guns come out of the front.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I should also point out every one of these characters have their own kind of melee weapon and gun weapon, right? Joker has a knife and a pistol. Ryuji has a club and a shotgun. An has a whip and like a submachine gun. Morgana has a scimitar and a slingshot. Yusuke has a katana and an assault rifle. Makoto has her knuckle weapons and a revolver. Futaba doesn't have anything because she's a non-combatant. Haru has an axe and a rocket launcher.
That escalated quickly.
Yeah. And after recruiting Haru, they're like, all right, we've got a fully loaded team, except there's one more guy. So we're now going to talk about Goro Akechi. Throughout the game, Goro Akechi has actually been an antagonist. He is a detective that is trying to find out who the Phantom Thieves are. And he's like a pretty boy who's beloved, and he's like, oh, you know, the Phantom Thieves, they're pieces of shit and all this stuff. Like, he's trash talking you. But once he discovers your identities, he's like, I want to believe that you guys are not evil. So allow me to come along with you, and I want to confirm that you're good. And that way I can cover for you in the media. So this is what Akechi looks like. Okay.
Okay.
And he becomes a member of the Phantom Thieves, and this is what he looks like as a Phantom Thief. Because for all the others, it's all about their image of rebellion, but for him, he says this is his image of justice. And his persona is Robin Hood.
Damn.
Yeah.
That actually goes pretty hard.
It does. Robin Hood has never looked more like a superhero. Except it's all a lie. So the person who betrayed the Phantom Thieves does in fact turn out to be Akechi. And I should point out that because of the pointy mask that he's got, his code name is Crow.
All
right. Which, if you speak Japanese, there's a bit of a hint, because the villain who's been going around causing psychotic breakdowns has just been called like the Black Mask. Well, Crow is the romanization of the Japanese word kuro, which is black.
Oh.
This is Akechi's true form.
Damn.
Because as it turns out, like Joker, Akechi has the wild card, which means he can hold multiple personas. Robin Hood was the persona of his false personality he created to make everyone think he's a big justice-loving goody two-shoes. His true persona is Loki.
Okay, I'm kind of a sucker for that one.
It's really cool. Crow's melee weapon is like essentially a lightsaber. And I think he also uses pistols. I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me on that. But yeah. So fun fact: he tries to literally shoot Ren in the head and murder him. Um,
God damn.
yeah, and you think he does until you find out that the Phantom Thieves were playing 5D chess. They lured him into the cognitive world, and it was simply a cognitive copy of Ren. Like, because when you're in that world, you will see reflections of people on how the ruler of the palace perceives them. So, for instance, Kamoshida, again, he was constantly trying to fuck on, right?
Mm.
There is another on in that world who is wearing a skimpy bikini and acts like a dumb bimbo because that is his perception of her.
Okay.
So they used one of those cognitive duplicates to trick Akechi. Um, and in the original version of the game, he uh, basically died, right?
Mm.
But thanks to Persona 5 Royal, they actually added a story to where he, to make a long story short, somebody gets the power to rewrite reality and he's resurrected. I'll get into that in a minute. But I still got one other Phantom Thief before we talk more about the ending of Royal and the game. She was added for Persona 5 Royal. So this is Kasumi Yoshizawa. She is a figure skater. She's a year younger than Joker, so she calls him senpai, and it's very endearing, and she's sweet and polite. Literally, the first thing you see her do is that she's trying to give up her seat on the train to an old lady. And she's just a real cutie pie, and I love her. And due to circumstances, she accidentally winds up in the metaverse, and she takes this form where she comes to be known as Violet. And she's not initially a member of the Phantom Thieves. She just has the same kind of power that they do. But her persona is Cendrillon, who is Cinderella.
Damn.
Yeah. And what's really cool is I didn't know Cinderella's real name was Ella. And in the story, they call her that because she's constantly covered in soot from cleaning the chimney and the fireplace and stuff like that. So they called her Cinderella.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So the final form of Cendrillon is just called Ella. But later on, after she joins the Phantom Thieves officially, you come to find out this is not Kasumi Yoshizawa. There were two sisters of the Yoshizawa family, and Kasumi was the figure skater that was very widely skilled, while her sister, Sumire, was not as talented as her. And one day, Sumire was upset and jealous at Kasumi, and she started trying to run away from talking to her. And Kasumi went to chase her down, and Sumire almost got hit by a car, and Kasumi pushed her out of the way, saving her life. Sumire was so traumatized by the fact that she felt that she had killed her sister that she went to a psychiatrist, a man named Dr. Maruki, who is a psychiatrist that you've been dealing with throughout the game. And he essentially hypnotized her. He was like, look, instead of feeling bad that you killed Kasumi Yoshizawa, would you rather be her? So that, you know, you're talented and you're alive and there's nothing to worry about. And he hypnotized her into believing she was Kasumi. This is actually Sumire.
Damn.
And she just took off her glasses and put her hair up in the ponytail and started being Kasumi Yoshizawa. which leads me into Takuto Maruki. But first, before I talk about Maruki, let me talk about the original ending of Persona. Persona 5, rather. So that god, Yaldabaoth, who took over Igor, he's the god of, or rather took his place. He's the god of control, and he took the form of the Holy Grail. And he's like, yeah, humanity is so stressed out, right? There's so many problems in life, and there's climate change and corrupt politicians and all this stuff, and people don't want to deal with it. People want me to take care of the problem for them, and my ultimate solution is to wipe out humanity. If there's no people, then there cannot be people who create these problems, and then there cannot be people who experience these problems and suffer. I will save everyone by deleting them all.
He's not wrong.
No. But obviously the Phantom Thieves are like, no, there's a better way to deal with this rather than just fucking killing everyone. And they try fighting this god, and it's not going well. And it's only because of all of the world coming together, or at least all of Japan, and believing in the Phantom Thieves, that they give Joker enough of a power boost to evolve his persona. At this point, everybody else's personas can have evolved the first time. But Arsene has still been, Arsene the whole time. He's never evolved. You've had other personas because, you got the wild card. But whenever Arsene is summoned, he has chains. Joker literally uses the power that the people granted to him, and he breaks the chains. And Arsene seems to explode. And Yaldabaoth is like, you failed to master the power. Sucks for you. But then suddenly the light starts turning blue, the clouds overhead start to part, and this descends from the heavens. Is it not playing?
No, it's not playing, but
God damn it. It's supposed to be one of those motion GIFs, of course. Well, anyway, this is a better look at him. But this is Satanael, which is basically what Satan was when he was an angel.
Okay.
There is a joke on the internet that the subtitle for Persona 5 should be Persona 5, How Satan Saved Christmas, because you have this battle on Christmas Eve.
Oh, shit.
Satanael, and every palace ruler you've dealt with up until now has represented one of the 7 deadly sins. So as you've beaten them, you've been gaining that energy. And Satanael does a single move called Sinful Shell, which is a bullet made up of the 7 deadly sins that can kill even a god. And Morana says, I see, when a god plays naughty, it's a demon lord's job to put him back in his place. And Satanael shoots Yaldabaoth in the head and kills him. And the Phantom Thieves of Heart wind up saving Christmas and the world. That's them shooting Yaldabaoth in the head, by the way.
Sick.
But they wound up using Yaldabaoth's reality warping powers to return reality to the way it was. So everybody forgot that the Phantom Thieves saved them. Ain't that just the way? That being said, Maruki, who is a genuinely good person that doesn't want anybody to suffer anymore, he wound up receiving that godly power. This is Takuto Maruki. He is a sweet guy. And what he chose to do with his power is to make a new reality where, so throughout the game, the Phantom Thieves have gone to him and talked about their various traumas with him. He makes a new reality where their traumas didn't happen. Shiho never got raped and tried to kill herself. Ryuji never broke his leg. He's still on the track team. It's like the ideal version of reality, and that becomes the theme of Royal. In fact, there are tracks called like the ideal versus the real, or throw your mask away, where it's like you don't have to fight anymore. I just want to make a reality where you're all happy. And one of those things is that Joker was really upset that they couldn't get through to Akechi to save him. But Akechi's alive again. And he joins your team. And by the end, it becomes apparent that if you beat Maruki, Akechi will probably go back to being dead. And even Akechi's like, that's fine. I don't want my existence to be under someone else's control. I made my choices in life. I don't want them all to be taken away. I don't want it all to be erased. You know, however shitty some parts of life have been, they're still what your life was. And you've all become stronger for all the trauma that you've gone through. And so it becomes this thing where they're like, we're going to fight for the reality that we worked so hard to achieve. This is Maruki in his like user form. He basically looks like a pope. He's got a big white flowing robe and like golden clothes. And his persona starts off as Azathoth, with, you know, Cthulhu?
Yep.
Cthulhu being an eldritch horror, Azathoth is the king of those eldritch horrors. He is Cthulhu's boss.
Really?
Yeah. You fight a very hard fight against Azathoth, but when you think that you have Maruki beaten, Azathoth evolves into Adam Kadmon, which is the ideal version of Adam, the first man. And again, it's like he's trying to represent the ideal version of humanity, basically. And it becomes a big epic fight. The I Believe, which is literally a sequel to the big boss fight song that's played throughout the whole game, Life Will Change. It kicks in, and Joker does some flippy dippies with his grappling hook, and all the Phantom Thieves band together, and Morgana becomes a helicopter.
Wait, she became a helicopter?
Oh yeah, I guess I should mention. So Morgana could become a bus throughout this entire game. When you're in Mementos, which is the Palace of the Masses, rather than a single person, he is a bus that you drive around in. And when you guys ask, like, Morgana, why can you transform into a bus? It's like, this is a world of cognition, and for whatever reason, people around here seem to think about the idea of cats turning into buses a lot. Which I don't know if you've ever seen My Neighbor Totoro.
I don't think I have, no.
My Neighbor Totoro is one of the most famous anime movies of all time. It's by Studio Ghibli, and in that movie, there is a character called Cat Bus. So because a lot of people have seen My Neighbor Totoro and they think about cats being buses, he is a cat and he can turn into a bus. And at the end of the game, they really need him to turn into something that flies, and he manages to turn into a helicopter.
That's funny.
Yeah. There's also some extra shit there with like a star that this little guy, Jose, not Jose, Jose, very specifically, I hate it, gives you that could let you do what's called showtime attacks throughout the game, but it uses up all of its like wish energy to turn him into a helicopter. It's a whole big thing. Don't worry about it. I want to get out about the last two Phantom Thieves, before this goes on for too long. So that's basically more or less all the characters from Persona 5 and Persona 5 Royal, but there is a sequel called Persona 5 Strikers. In Persona 5 Strikers, they kind of more or less do the same story. Like they hit the same story beats. That you fight a big god at the end, which it's a lot of the same thing, but it's still fun, and you still get to see these characters that you love interact with each other, and it's all good. But You meet this girl very early on named Sophia. You literally find her in a trash dump in the metaverse. And you don't know what her deal is, but she claims to be humanity's companion. And she wants to lead Ren and Ryuji, or I'm sorry, Joker and Skull out of the area they're in. She's trying to navigate for them. And she gets attacked by a shadow. And as the dust settles, she is immediately in this form with these things floating around. And she says very confidently, "We are the Phantom Thieves." And you find out pretty quickly she's an AI. These things that she summoned is Pithos, which is the Greek word for box, or jar, or something like that, the container. And what's funny is that all of the personas have, their skill lists. Every skill that Pithos has ends in a question mark, because nobody is sure if this thing can be defined as a persona, since she does not have a heart. She is an AI. And throughout the game, whenever you're in the real world, she just lives inside of Ren's phone. But towards the end of the game, she finally develops like true sentience, true emotions, and she gets her persona awakening. Which I should say, every time their personas awaken, it's an excruciating experience. Their eyes turn yellow. They start getting mind-splitting headaches. They start screaming and drooling while the persona is talking in their mind, like, "Vow to me, swear your allegiance, so that we may take down all of these motherfuckers." And they talk more eloquently than I do. But the famous line is, "I am thou, thou art I." That's what all the personas say. So that starts happening to her, and her like visor shatters, because the thing is, in this game you summon personas by taking your mask off of your face, which is like, I'm not hiding my true self anymore, haha, kind of thing. All the Pithos like crates or whatever stack on top of each other, and then they open up to reveal her persona as Pandora.
Damn, I like that one too.
It's very cool. And then the last member of the Phantom Thieves is actually a cop who was initially like trying to keep control of the Phantom Thieves, basically. He's a member of public security. His name is Zenkichi Hasegawa. And he is multiple times called a dog of the police, but eventually he says ACAB. And he says, "I'm not going to be some stray dog anymore. I am now a wolf." So this is Wolf.
Ooh.
And his persona is Valjean, as in Jean Valjean from fucking Les Miserables.
Damn.
Yeah. And that's it. Those are the 12 members of the Phantom Thieves. It should be noted that Persona 5 Strikers is a sequel to Persona 5, not Persona 5 Royal. So throughout the game, they never make reference to Sumire or to Maruki or to any of the things that happened in Persona 5 Royal. So it's almost like two different timelines. In both of them, the Phantom Thieves totals in 10 members, but who those last depend on which version of the game you're going with. So I still like to believe that there's a timeline where all the Royal stuff happened, and then all the Striker stuff happened. So there's 12 Phantom Thieves. But I could probably spend a whole other episode talking about just their confidants, everyone from Sojiro to the hot goth doctor that I'm romancing in my current playthrough, to this like shogi player, to this little kid who really likes shooting games, because they all have fantastic stories. I can't get this out enough, that like like maybe one or two of them I don't like their stories too much. Like the reporter lady, I like her, but I also don't dislike her, right? So um it's one of those things where if I wanted to properly talk about the entire story of Persona 5, it would be much longer than we have. It is an over 100-hour story game.
Damn.
I am not going to faithfully get out all of the important parts in under 2 hours. So I gave you most of the cliff notes on the Phantom Thieves. Now I will ask you, based on their designs and what little bits I've told you of them, how would you rank the Phantom Thieves? Like, who is some of your favorites?
Okay. I gotta look through them again real quick.
Yeah, it's a good thing I posted all those pictures so you can easily refer to them all again.
Yeah. Honestly, easily Joker's is like on the top.
Yeah,
Easily.
he's so cool. You can't like it. There's a part of you that wants to go like, oh, but he's the main character. Should that count? But yes,
Yeah.
yes,
But it's just so cool.
he's worth it.
Exactly. Then I forget her name, but it's the one that looks like a red cat woman.
Oh, Panther. You if
Yep.
it's easier, you can go by their code names.
I don't remember the code names. I have
Well,
really bad memory.
Her name is On, but her code name is Panther.
Okay. Then the one with the fox mask.
Oh, Fox.
Yep. Oh, literally fox. I'm a sucker for that mask.
It's pretty good. He's actually one of my least favorite members of the Phantom Thieves, which is hard because I love them all. But he's like my second least favorite. Just because I don't know, man, he's really weird. He's an artist.
Cool.
Well, he's an artist and like thinks of nothing but art, but that sometimes like almost becomes like perverted in some weird way. Like it's so odd, like trying to describe it because it's not sexually based, but like one of the big things is he wants to paint on nude, and for everyone else, they're like, that's obviously sexual, and he's like, no, it's literally not. But it's just that his blind passion for art do really suspect and weird shit. He also can't hold because he is such an idiot when it comes to artistic pursuits. He literally went to the beach and he bought 2 lobsters because he thought their form was so interesting that he wanted to sketch them, but they were so expensive that it cost all of his money for the beach.
Oh my god. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I'm kind of conflicted for my next option between the AI.
Sophie. Oh, yep. I should say her real name is Sophia, but her code name is Sophie.
Oh, okay. Between her and then the redhead that can turn into a UFO.
Oh yeah, Futaba.
Yeah.
I love both of them. They're very, you know what? Despite being a hacker and an AI, they're quite distinct from each other. Like Sophie is so sweet and innocent, and Futaba is a gremlin. She literally goes,
oh geez. Then it would probably, I forget his name too, but it's the one that had Wolf. I believe, wasn't that his code name? Yeah, Wolf. Yeah, I remembered that.
He's a loyal dog. Yeah, he's fucking sick. And what's really cool is that, so like I mentioned that all the Phantom Thieves have different elements. the 8 elements in the game are curse, which Joker has, um, bless, which uh, uh, fucking Sumire and Akechi. Akechi actually has bless and curse because haha, he's light and dark. Haha, get it? Um,
Yeah.
but Sumire has bless, fire, which On has, electricity, which Ryuji has, ice, which Yusuke or Fox has, psi or psychic, which is what Haru has, um, uh, uh, wind, which is what Morgana has, um, nuke, which is what Makoto has, um, and then there's Zenkichi, who his element is actually Almighty, which is an element that is strong against everything. Nothing is resistant to Almighty.
Mm.
So that's supposed to be like end game level personas have Almighty attacks.
Oh, okay. Oh, excuse me.
Yeah. Is there any that you really don't like?
The Pope.
Well, he's not a member of the Phantom Thieves. He's and yes, okay, he does look doofy, but also do not insult him because the internet will castrate you. He is one of the most beloved characters, and you know what? For good reason. The final battle that you have with him is so upsetting because like where with like say Yaldabaoth, the final boss music playing for him is like this big epic shit. That's like, oh yeah, you're fighting God and you're fighting to save the world. But the music that plays during Maruki's boss fight is called Throw Your Mask Away, where the lyrics for that song are literally, you can throw your mask away, no more pretending. You've been tied down for the longest of times. Be free. You deserve better. You should forever be. And it's like a very melancholy track because he's fighting you, but he doesn't want to hurt you. And it's almost like it gives you this vibe of like he's fighting you while crying.
Mm.
And it's just like, God damn, man. So we forgive that his outfit looks silly.
Story or his character is awesome. Just the outfit is just a no.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. What do you think about his persona, though? I
That's
should point
the
out
oh.
that the picture of Azathoth is zoomed in. If you zoom out, like the golden cross part that's floating there is sort of floating high in the, and he's got all of these tentacles that are like individual enemies that like come down from him and then back up from the ground. So they're like standing, quote unquote, in different areas.
Mm. I mean, it's kind of cool. It's just not for me.
What about Adam Kadmon?
Who was that again? Which one was
It's
that?
the big gold titan that it evolves into.
Oh, I was looking at the wrong one then. That's who I was originally looking at.
Azathoth is the cross that's above it.
I kind of like the cross a little more.
All right,
I'll be honest.
I gotcha. What do you think of Akechi?
Which one was that again?
Oh, right. He's the detective that had Robin Hood and Loki.
I gotta find him real quick. Hang
He
on.
had the white outfit and then the black outfit.
Oh, right. I did like his. Yeah. The black one was really cool.
Yeah. It's also really funny because in Royal, in the third semester, the extra story they added on, when he actually does join your team, because like when he was fighting in the white outfit with Robin Hood, he was only pretending to be on your team and he was trying to betray you, right? But later on, when he actually does join your team, because he's doing it for real, he's in his black mask outfit and he's using Loki and he's acting like a fucking psychopath. So so it's very funny where he's just like this enemy is a weakling. We'll cut them down in no time. Like, because you can do analysis of enemies, and he's like one of the people that announces that shit. So he just goes about like die, 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 and the rest of your team is just like, oh my god.
He sounds like someone I'd vibe to in my party.
Yeah.
Anytime
It's
you have a
funny.
party and there's a character like that, they're easily one of my favorites. Like Cicero in Skyrim.
What's funny is that in Persona 5, I hated him. I thought
Really?
he was scum and did not deserve forgiveness or anything. When I had heard that he was going to be given like a redemption thing in Persona 5 Royal, I was angry. I was like,
Mm.
this motherfucker does not deserve it. I hate him. But in Persona 5 Royal, they added extra bits leading up to the betrayal, showing more of like his character and your development with him. And then the path that he took after the betrayal, it wasn't like people just forgot what he did, but you start to feel more and more for him in that version. And he wound up going from my character to one of my most loved characters. Like, they did such a phenomenal job characterizing him for that new version of the game. It's so good. I genuinely give mad props to Atlas for that.
Yeah.
So overall, what do you think of the Phantom Thieves of Heart?
I like them. I honestly might give the game another chance, just for them
You
alone.
you genuinely should, and because that's such a big part of Persona is the character interactions. You start to fall in love with every one of these characters, and so seeing the way that they interact with each other and the different relationships they form, that becomes such a strong driving force of the game. That the gameplay is good. The aesthetic is so fucking good. Even the menu, even the pause menu, looks just incredibly aesthetic.
I
Um,
really did like the pause menu. It was very
yeah,
unique.
the music, it's all so the. I have the Persona 5 songs on my normal music playlist to listen to when I'm like taking a shower or whatever. Um, and do you know what a leitmotif is?
I don't think so.
A leitmotif is a mechanic used in artistic media. Usually, music is what we're referring to, where you are associating an aspect of the story with a certain and you can then use that cue in multiple works. So for music specifically, certain sounds or melodies that are used in multiple songs that are connected to each other. So, like, as an example, say you're watching a mystery movie and you don't know who the villain is. Every time you see the villain and they're all masked and covered up and everything, you hear church bells, right?
Hmm.
And then you meet a new character in the story and they have their own like theme song, and in the very background of the theme song you can just barely hear the ringing of church bells, and consciously you may not notice it, but subconsciously you'll be made to feel unnerved. You're like, something doesn't feel right about this person because they're using the same sound for the villain that they use for this character.
Oh, okay.
So in I had mentioned the song Life Will Change. Every single time in Persona 5. In fact, when you first start the game and you're in the casino, it's the song that's playing. But Life Will Change specifically will play every time you go into a palace for the last time. So when you're in a palace and you're fighting through normally, you're securing an infiltration route. And when you reach the treasure, you then go back to the real world, send a calling card to the palace owner in the real world, basically saying we're going to get greatest treasure, and that causes them to consciously think of it, so it materializes. So then they go back into the palace one last time, get the treasure, and they have the final boss fight in that palace. Every time they go for that final visit, Life Change plays. So in Persona 5 Royal, when you go to the final day of the final palace, you're about to finish the game. Life Will Change does this like dent 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 kind of melody, right? So when you go into the final palace, you hear this huge orchestral like trumpets, like dun 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 dun, dun, and you're like, what is this? But then it goes into the dent 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 dent. So it's literally a sequel song. It's using that melody, and what's really cool is even the lyrics act as like a sequel thing, because one of the lines in Life Will Change is shit, how's it go? It's like I'm not a robot, I'm not a phantom, I'm in your face. Well, one of the lines in I Believe, which is the song that I'm talking about, is I thought that I told you I'm not a robot. No, I thought that I told you I'm not a phantom. It's so fucking good. Like everything was made better in Persona 5 Royal over the vanilla version of Persona 5, except for specifically one boss battle, which was made worse. Haru Okumura, the girl with the axe, her father is one of the palace rulers, and his boss battle is really fucking annoying in Royal. But other than that, everything is better.
Why was his annoying?
Because the mechanic for the Royal version of that fight is that he keeps summoning minions of escalating difficulty. Every time you wipe out one group of 4 minions, he immediately summons another group of 4 minions. And you have to beat each of those groups in like 2 rounds or you'll fucking die.
Oh.
And that's not too big of an issue when you're fighting the weak little patsy grunts, but when they bring out these giant strong motherfuckers, if you are not properly equipped with the kind of moves to easily take them down, you will struggle. And I probably replayed that fight 15 times before I got
Jesus.
it. Yeah. Though, and it doesn't even really end satisfying, because when you finally wipe out all of his minions, he takes the field and you beat him in one shot. He just immediately goes down.
Seriously?
Which is funny. Yeah. Like, I get it. It's the idea that he's made it so that he can't do anything without his expendable minions. But at the same time, at that point, I wanted to beat his fucking ass.
Yeah.
So, anyway, all this is to say, if you have not played through Persona 5, I genuinely recommend it. And you know what? I'm not a big fan of like Dynasty Warriors games, but I'm also going to recommend Persona 5 Strikers. Because Sophia and Zenkichi are genuinely great additions to the Phantom Thieves. And look, the story, like I said, follows a lot of the beats of the original game. Like the second palace is an artist of some sort in both games. In the first game, it's a painter, and in the second game, it's a writer. That being said, that writer's form that you fight against is a giant golden dragon, and that's fucking dope. So, look, there's going to be something that you love in this game. It's going to be the music, or it's going to be the visuals, which is so stylistic and so full of flair, or it's going to be the story, which, like I said, gets really heavy and tackles a lot of uncomfortable and serious topics that a lot of people can resonate with, or it's going to be the characters. If you've got a good head on your shoulders, it's going to be all of it. Every aspect of this game is 10 out of 10 for me. Fucking go play it. Do you have any final thoughts about Persona 5.
Nah, I just am planning on playing it at some point again.
Oh, I will tell you, there's like 9 romance options in Persona 5 Royal, and you can technically romance all of them. But if you do, they will find out, and they will be pissed, and you will lose a reward. Um,
But that's
so,
only if I romance all of them? So what if I
well,
romance all but one?
no, it'll still happen. Like,
Oh.
even if you romance 2 of them, you're still cheating. Like, so uh, I, I would personally say, unless you're specifically wanting to do the harem route, knowing full well you will lose a reward at the end, uh, you you should pick one person ahead of time that you know you want to romance. Um, for me, I first romanced Futaba, the UFO girl, and then I romanced Makoto, the motorcycle. And now in my current playthrough, I'm planning on romancing Tai Takemi, who is the aforementioned hot goth doctor. Um, so my recommendation to you would be look up who the romance options are. You can romance every girl on your team. Um, and if you don't want to romance one of the Phantom Thieves, you can also romance most of your female confidants. You can also romance your teacher.
Wait, seriously?
I'm serious, and she's a maid. So
Oh my Oh, that's horrible.
a lot of people do romance her. Just figure out who you want to do ahead of time, and then commit to that.
All right.
All right, everybody. Thank you for listening. You can check out the Cape Corner Discord. Feel free to go there and post a suggestion for what kind of character you would like to hear about. I do listen to suggestions, and I'm willing to take some. Nobody gives me any, so if you want to listen to a thing about fucking, I don't know, Banjo Kazooie or whatever, just post it in there. I'll probably do it. Maybe not Banjo Kazooie specifically. I didn't play those games, but just as an example. You can also support me on Anchor. Works just like Patreon. You can follow me at Cape Corner on Twitter. Jay is at Jay Vicarelli on Twitter. Links will be down in the description. We did the ad break. Oh, follow the Hall of Pods podcast network. The link tree is in the description. Those guys, more professional than we are, so they're pretty cool. I actually just did an episode this morning with Jordan from on his Phantom Optimist podcast. We were talking about She-Hulk. Have you been watching that?
I have actually. I haven't watched the most recent episode, but I have been watching it. I like it so far.
The most recent episode might be my favorite.
Oh, really? That good?
It's really good.
I'll definitely have to watch that then.
Yeah. All right, everybody, thank you once again for listening. Stay strong, stay true to yourselves, and remember, we can all be heroes.